are Postal Realty Trust. We are the only publicly traded REIT focused on the assets leased to the Postal Service. We own north of 1,700 properties in 49 states. We are by far and away the largest owner. Our strategy is to consolidate this highly fragmented postal real estate industry. Once we acquire these properties, we get efficiencies in management and operations of these assets once they're under our ownership, and we drive earnings and growth. What most people ask us is why postal real estate, right? Post offices very rarely move. It's the largest misconception in postal real estate in general. We have an unbelievable retention rate of 99% retention over 10 plus years, and we collect 100% of our rent 100% of the time. And we're able to operate 1,700 properties across the country from our offices in New York. So the history is really interesting. So my father, who had owned various different types of real estate, he was brought a small portfolio of postal assets in the early 80s. He didn't know at the time that the Postal Service even leased their assets, like most people. He ended up acquiring those assets and had the foresight to continue to grow the portfolio. He continued to buy them. I started working for him straight out of college. He semi-retired in the early 2000s. We continued to grow the portfolio. We became the largest owner. My father passed away in 2016. And the year or so following, I was approached by a banker to create a public company around it. Never thought about it, didn't even have a business card. But I spent my life doing this. This was part of my DNA. And I spent about a year or so researching what the opportunity set was and found that there really were no institutional owners. This was a very fragmented business where you've got 23,000 or more facilities owned by over 17,000 owners. Average owner is in their 60s to 80s. Average owner owns their building over, let's call it 40 to 50 years. And what I realized was that someone was going to do this. Someone was going to aggregate the space. Someone was going to get the benefits of the economies of scale. And I arguably was sitting in the right seat at the right time and at the right age. And so we went public. So this is a little bit of a difficult question because, I don't believe we fall into one sector. There are people that categorize us as net lease. There are people that categorize us as industrial. There are people that think that we're infrastructure. And the reality is we fall into all of those buckets. We're a very unique story. And our properties are very simple. The company is run very, very conservatively. We are insulated from the impacts of tariffs and inflation. We have been very, very focused on the acquisition of these buildings and keeping our retention rate high, keeping our rent collection high. And we manage these properties better than anybody else. We are by far and away the axe in the space. We're able to acquire these properties. 75% of the deals are done off market. The economies of scale that we're able to get has really been shown by our same-store growth. We gave a same-store growth for 2025 of 4 to 6%. We've got 56% of our portfolio has annual rent escalations of 3% or better. And this, just the annual rent escalations themselves will add 2 pennies or more to the AFFO per share in 2025. And this is all part of our thesis. This is all part of what we're trying to do. And this is really us just getting started. We've grown our revenue and property square footage by over 7 times. And we've been coming up on our 6-year IPO anniversary. And I really believe the runway in front of us is tremendous. The Postal Service on those 25,000 facilities pays $1.3 billion in rent. So this is, let's call it a $12 to $15 billion market. And we own 7% of that market. The next 20 largest owners altogether only own around 11%. So the opportunity set in front of us is tremendous. The only bare thesis that I have seen, and again, I'm obviously extremely biased, is the fact that all of the privatization and DOGE and all the noise that everybody is reading, the headline risk is the bear thesis. But the reality is that no one's really focusing on the fact that we are investing in the largest, most intricate logistics network in this country. That the Postal Service delivers to 169 million delivery points 6 to 7 days a week. That's the target market of every online retailer. And whether there are efficiencies within the Postal Service or not, the reality is that the rent they pay on those 25,000 facilities is only 1.5% of their expenses. And it's not really a focus of anybody trying to find efficiency in an organization to focus on the 1.5% line item. The other reality is that everybody in the online delivery service business is leveraging this network in one way or another, because they all need to touch the American people, and the most efficient way to do it is to go through the Postal Service. You know, this consolidation story that we have and be able to maintain a 99% retention rate. This was over government shutdowns, recessions, depressions, COVID, and that's just the benefit of having arguably the best credit tenant you're going to find. The reason to invest in Postal is because of the credit tenancy, is because of the retention rate, is because of the rent collections. You know, we're providing north of a 7% dividend. My father referred to this, and I still view it the same way, as a government or real estate backed bond. We control the vast majority of the institutional knowledge in the space. Okay, we have relationships in the space that go back decades. I mean, I remember looking at these buildings and meeting some of these owners when I was a child, and the reality is I'm buying their buildings today. Okay, this is a defensive play that has growth. There's a tremendous runway, there are tremendous economies of scale, and there's a lot of opportunity here. And a lot of the opportunity is because of the noise around the privatization and DOGE that it really has no bearing. We're executing 10-year leases with the Postal Service. The fundamentals of the business have never been better. Our line of sight into leasing has never been better. Our relationship with the Postal Service has never been better. All of these things lend themselves to a strong investment in a safe asset class. And arguably, most investors wouldn't even be able to find one asset at north of a 7.5 cap with this credit, retention, and rent collection, let alone an entire industry. And that's what we're doing.